Hey everyone, Grayson the Bard here, and welcome back to day 37 of the Hunt-A-Day, and it is Halloween. I didn't plan this out very well, but coincidentally, we are on the spookiest map in Monster Hunter Generations, which is the First Generation Swamp. Now, why is it the spookiest map, you ask? Well, it is because I tend to accidentally fling myself into different zones because the loading areas are not very well defined, and it always looks like it should still be part of the same combat area that you're in. So you're gonna see me go in and out of combat a little bit in this one, and I apologize for that. I said yesterday that I had stopped planning out the hunts for this week after Tetsukabra, and that is partially true. I still don't know what I'm going to hunt for tomorrow, but what I did know is that I was going to be talking about Duramboros today. You think I forgot my boy? You think I forgot my second favorite monster in the entire series? My sweet mountain goat man? My camel cow disaster? My drunken aerial Beyblade? No! No, of course not. If it is not absolutely clear from that little spiel, I absolutely love Duramboros. He is my second favorite monster in the series and is constantly vying for top place the longer that I don't see Lagiacrus again. He was my first ever wall in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate when I got back into it in college. He was the monster that really taught me the importance of not just swinging, but like the importance of positioning and making sure you're figuring out the best hit zones, and also elemental weakness. He was the first monster that I ever farmed a specific element weapon for. He's very weak to fire, and in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate I learned that, and then because I was having such a hard time with him, I went to the smithy and saw that the only fire weapon I could make was the Kurupeku Sword and Shield. I had never played Sword and Shield, but I was like, I gotta get past this ram, I gotta get past this boy. So I made it, and then I won with that fight, and I still think back on that hunt very fondly as like a formative Monster Hunter experience for me. Because up until that point, I was just trying to brute force everything with the greatsword. And it was that hunt that made me realize, oh, no, you kind of have to approach each hunt a little bit differently. And that was very much a light bulb moment for me, I think. Fighting Duramboros this morning was a huge breath of fresh air. I have been, with the Monster Hunter Wilds beta and still doing the Hunt-A-Day, trying to record content for all of that to, like, you know, I want to take advantage of the beta hype and the Monster Hunter Wilds release hype to help grow the channel a little bit, and I think that's been kind of working. But I also made a commitment to the Hunt-A-Day, which has been causing me to run myself a little tight these past couple days with content. So fighting Duramboros today really felt like a breath of fresh air, and I know it's a longer hunt, but I really enjoyed it. In terms of what I love about the fight with Duramboros, I'm going to talk about that before I talk about the aesthetics today. What I love about Duramboros' fight is how big his openings are and how massively telegraphed his attacks are, but also how punishing they can be. I today wanted to kind of take it a little bit easy, so I'm fighting a high rank version instead of a G rank version, but even here it is very easy to get tripped up by his like big attacks, and they do, even in G rank armor, like leveled up as high as I can currently get it, I take a good amount of damage. Like, if this were the G-rank hunt, there's a good chance I would have fainted a couple times in this one. But to counteract all of that damage, his attack windows are very, very broad and huge, and I think in a current-gen game, he would unfortunately be a huge target for, like, counter spam because of how big his attacks are. So I think if he were to return in, you know, Wilds or a future game, which I really, really want him to, I think he would need to be sped up a little bit, his attack timings would need to be changed, but I swear if Capcom brings him back and they do not include the move where he spins around like a top and then launches himself into the sky by the weight of his own tail, I would lose it. That is the best move in the game. It is what made me fall in love with this monster the most. I know that there's probably a way to interrupt it and to, you know, capitalize on that big, long opening, especially if you're playing a ranged weapon. But I cannot help myself, but every time he starts spinning around like a majestic, drunken top, I have to stop and I have to watch the whole thing because it is my favorite move in the series. now talking about his aesthetics, he is so simple. He is a really cool looking big armored herbivore, which is a type of creature that I really enjoy just personally. He's like a mix of like a camel, a cow, and like he's very much reminds me of Bonbaro from Monster Hunter World in his, just general build. The big horns that he uses to charge and ram. And he's got that massive bludgeon of a tail that he almost uses like the Olympic weight throwing thing where they have the big like ball at the end of the rope that they swing around and then huck. It reminds me of that. But in terms of Monster Hunter creatures, Duramboros is still fairly simple. He doesn't have like way too much over-designed stuff going on. He's got a lot of really cool elements, the big horns, the big tail, the humps on his back. But the color palette of like the greens and yellows and oranges are all very natural, and they feel like they could fit in any environment, more so than a lot of monsters who almost feel like they're designed for specific biomes. Whereas Duramboros, I could see, wandering around pretty much anywhere. And he would look right. And then left. Maybe up and down. Who can say? He can look wherever he wants, but he would look natural. You know what I mean. And while I personally wouldn't change a goddamn thing about his design, I do think it would be cool if they incorporated some sort of like... With Rathian in Monster Hunter World, the coolest thing they did was make it so that when you cut off her tail, she could not poison you anymore. And I think that even as much as I love the move, I think if you cut off Duramboros' tail in a newer game, if he comes back, I think he shouldn't be able to do the spinning bludgeon move that he does. Or he should try to do it and then it should just immediately topple him for a big down. I think that would be really sweet. So in terms of how likely I think Duramboros is to come back, I want to say 10 out of 10. And the reason for that is, one, personal bias. I love Duramboros. I would do anything to see him back. I will bribe anyone at Capcom any amount of money. I'll go into substantial amounts of debt to see my boy again. But realistically, I think the big thing that we are missing right now from, again, at least what I have seen of Wilds, which is, everything up until the release date trailer back in September of this year. I think what we are missing right now is big, chunky creatures. Everything that I have seen so far has been very slim, very fast, very aggressive. Even Doshiguma are very much, smaller on the big scale. I think we need something massive like Duramboros. And I think since it has been so long since Duramboros has been in a game, I would imagine he's pretty high on Capcom's list of monsters to bring back. So I'm going to put Duramboros... I would be very surprised and very sad if Duramboros does not show up in Wilds. So I'm going to say 10 out of 10 for Duramboros coming back in Wilds, and 10 out of 10 for Duramboros coming back in a future game. Ideally sooner rather than later. And also, Duramboros' armor is usually very good for early game greatsword builds or hammer builds, because there's a lot of skills that really support those weapons. It usually has focus on it, or slugger. It would be awesome to see that come back for a good early game bonk set, That's where I'm going to be ending the ramble for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you who check out these videos for the hunt a day. It's really curious for me to look at the difference in views for different monsters, because it kind of points out what the community is most interested in versus the monsters that they don't particularly care about. So that's been really fun to see. I've also really enjoyed talking with y'all in the comments about the monsters, about, if this is your first time seeing it, what do you think about Duramboros? What would you like to see? What do you think it does well? What are you, would you be interested in fighting this in a newer game? I am currently very much on that grind to try and grow the channel, so I am more than happy to talk about anything in the comments Monster Hunter related with you guys. Feel free to post your thoughts and feelings. Thank y'all again so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't. And until next time, I'll see you next time.